Am I the asshole for flirting at a funeral? Hi guys. The asshole because my friend follows my main and could see this, but thankfully she has no idea this subreddit exists. Recently I, 23M, went to the funeral of my best friend Ashley's dad, 24F. Natural death, COVID not involved. The event took place in 2 days, with the vigil starting one afternoon, lasting most of the night and the next morning. The actual funeral and mass were done the next day beginning at 12 o'clock m. This has been a long process for Ashley. I've been there for her all these weeks and I plan to do the same during the service, especially since she asked me to be there. Problem is, when it all begun, Ashley was so busy with everyone else I was not able to even get close. One moment she was with her mom, then with her sister, then with her uncle, then with her aunt, then the grandpas. And I am not saying this out of spite, I mean, it was obvious this was going to happen and I don't blame her or even think of this as something bad. Better for her because she had her family's support. I tell you this so that you understand that I ended having a ton of free time in a place where I was surrounded by total strangers. I only knew Ashley, her mom and sister, no one else. But I was not going to leave her alone in case I was required. So, there I was, bored as hell, when I opened a dating app on my phone, one that lets you see profiles by distance. Surprise, there was another dude nearby. Really nearby, 7 meters, 22 feet, apart. I say hi, he answers and well. Long story short, he was Ashley's cousin Blake, 20M, the son of her dad's eldest sister. Because they live in another city, Blake was not really close to his uncle and like me, he was more bored than sad. We moved our chat from the app to real life and we spent the rest of the night getting to know each other and flirting a little, no kisses or anything else, just to be clear. All while his mom and Ashley were busy with, well, the deceased. Next day it was more of the same and we exchanged contact info before parting ways. This was almost a week ago and Blake and I still talk, a lot actually, and we have tagged each other in some Insta posts. Well, Ashley saw them and you can guess her reaction. She is extremely mad at us, saying that it's a complete lack of respect that we met on her dad's funeral, that it was rude, gross, disturbing and a lot of other adjectives that I can't remember right now. Also, she is ignoring me, although I am not blocked from her social media, yet. Honestly, it's not like we fucked in the cemetery, we were just talking, but I am obviously biased so guys, am I the asshole? Little edit. Hi guys, I don't know if this helps or not the judgment, but I will clarify the most common topics I see. 1. I didn't open the app to see if I could later escape to go fuck someone. I opened it out of habit, like when you open Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat and then Instagram again. My curiosity piqued because of the profile being very close and the icon that said they were online at the moment. 2. No one knew what we were doing. At most they just saw two guys speaking with each other and maybe laughing softly once in a while. And we were not together during the actual mass or funeral, just the extra long wake. 3. Some have said that I abandoned Ashley, which was not true. Every time she looked for me or wanted to talk, we did. But as I said before, it took a few minutes before she had to be doing another thing or speak to someone else. You are the asshole. Flirting is for a time and place that's suitable. A funeral where everyone is trying to grieve is not one of those. Face with raised eyebrow grimace. Talking to her cousin at the funeral and hitting it off. NTA opening up your phone and messing around. Even chatting with someone. NTA combining those two? You are the asshole. Doing one of them is understandable, but it's rude to see someone at the funeral has a profile and to go try to pursue them there at the funeral. Of course Ashley feels like used her dad's death to your advantage. That doesn't make you a bad person, necessarily, but it was kind of a jerk move. In times past it was almost a trope that a lot of relationships, short or long-lived, were outtakes from weddings and funerals. People meeting people they had never met before. Usually everyone is well dressed and looking, and behaving, their best. Stuff happens. Not the asshole. She is acting out of grief. There is nothing inappropriate in you and Blake meeting at the funeral. Maybe leave out the part about the dating app for now, though. Just be kind and understanding to her due to her loss of her father. Maybe say you're sorry she's upset by this, but you didn't do anything inappropriate. You met Blake and hit it off and plan to continue to get to know each other. Not the asshole. Not the asshole you didn't know anybody there, got bored and played around on your phone. Obviously the cousin was, too, or you wouldn't have met like that. Talking in person when you were in the same place is way less rude than staying engrossed in your phone the whole time. If nobody noticed, had an issue with it at the time, then I'd say you're okay. You are the asshole. Don't flirt at a funeral, geez. If you meet somebody, just wait a few hours until the funeral is over. Holy shit. Nah. Assuming you weren't on your phone while in the church or during the actual funeral ceremony, you did nothing wrong. Your boyfriend is also entitled to get feelings. She's going through some shit right now. You are the asshole for not waiting till after the funeral. That's pretty disrespectful. Am I the asshole for not wanting to give my mother's wedding dress to my brother's GF? Recently my mother passed away and there was no will. I made it very clear that when we went to take care of the personal belongings that I would be taking her wedding dress as years before she had offered it to me to wear when I got married. As I was not engaged at the time, I said it was a possibility that I would. I have been with my current partner for close to 9 years, but we only recently began planning our wedding, and unfortunately we were unable to tell her the exciting news before she passed away. Fast forward to the evening of us going through the house. As I was on my way back home, 5-hour drive, I received a text from my brother asking why I took the dress because his girlfriend might have wanted to wear it if they got married. When I told him that Mom had asked me if I would wear it years before, he replied that he thought I was already married. To which I said I was not, and I've never given anyone the impression that I had gotten married, and if I had he would have been there. At that I thought the conversation was over and it had been settled. The following morning I received a call from my grandmother where she asked me about the dress and if I would let my brother's girlfriend have the dress. I said no because we had just started planning our wedding and I intended to wear it. She then asked me if it even fit me and proceeded to ask me if I was sure it fit me. I know exactly what dress size I wear and it fit like a glove when I tried it on. She then asked if I would let her at least borrow the dress. My brother's girlfriend is smaller than I am, and to fit her she would have to have it taken in, which would make it too small for me, and quite frankly, she has a mother of her own that if she does not have a dress she can get from her that can at least take her dress shopping. I won't get that opportunity. Am I the asshole for not wanting to give my mother's wedding dress to my brother's girlfriend because she might want to wear it? Edit 1. My mother asked me if I wanted it for when I got married over a decade ago, as I am her only daughter and the oldest of her children. My brother and his girlfriend aren't even engaged at this point. I am actively planning my wedding. If his girlfriend wants to wear the dress, and she asks me, provided my wedding has passed, then it would be a different story. But my brother and grandmother want me to give it to her now because we haven't set our date yet. We are in the process of viewing and selecting the venue presently and getting the information for available dates next summer. Edit 2. I do want to add, I do not know if my brother's girlfriend asked for the dress. I know my brother sent me the text and then my grandmother called and asked what she did. But that day when I spoke with my brother's girlfriend and offered her some of my mother's clothes and jewelry, she only took a few things and said she was good with those things. So I don't want to disparage her because she didn't ask me, and I don't know if she had said anything to my brother or my grandmother. I also want to add that my grandmother, without talking to my brothers and I about it, gave my mother's wedding rings to my stepsister, and we only found out after the fact. So if that hadn't have occurred, I probably would have told my brother to use Mom's engagement ring for when he proposed, but that decision was taken from us. By the way, this is a cautionary story as to why you should always have a will. Not the asshole, but your brother is forsicking grandma on you. That is tacky and low. You keep the dress and congratulations. Not the asshole. How dare she demand your recently deceased mother's dress? How insanely tacky of them both. What better way to keep your mom close on your special day than sharing the dress she did the same in? Please do not give in, and rock that dress on your wedding day. Not the asshole. What an odd thing for your brother to fixate on. It's a power struggle. Don't give up the dress. Not the asshole. They are all so extremely wrong. No further discussion required. I would also add here, even if you weren't currently planning your wedding, this is your mother's wedding dress. It belongs to you, full stop, assuming she had no other daughters. Not the asshole at all, and I'm sorry for your loss. Your mother's wedding dress is clearly very special to you. Stand your ground. His girlfriend can go dress shopping and leave your mother's dress alone. I do want to add, I do not know if my brother's girlfriend asked for the dress. I know my brother sent me the text and then my grandmother called and asked what she did. But that day when I spoke with my brother's girlfriend and offered her some of my mother's clothes and jewelry, she only took a few things and said she was good with those things. So I don't want to disparage her because she didn't ask me, and I don't know if she had said anything to my brother or my grandmother. I also want to add that my grandmother, without talking to my brothers and I about it, Gave my mother's wedding rings to my stepsister and we only found out after the fact. Not the asshole at all. I would be furious in your situation. Not the asshole. Shame on your grandma for butting in. I am sorry for the loss of your mother. Good luck on your wedding. Am I the asshole for wanting my mom to move out? I, 30F, and my brother, 24M, both live with our mom. My father died when I was young, and my mom raised us on her own. She remarried 7 years after my father passed, and the husband lived with us for a while, but then they got divorced, so it was back to just me, my mom, and my brother. My mom doesn't work, so my brother and I take care of expenses. However, before my brother and I grew up and got jobs, my mom spent all her saved money up on raising us, and she even sold some of her old jewelry to help make ends meet. She brings this point up a lot. My brother plans to move out soon to live with his girlfriend, which would leave me and my mom together. Now, objectively, I would have no problem living with a parent, but my mom has gotten increasingly difficult to live with. She is incredibly judgmental, hot-tempered, critical, and paranoid. The last thing she told me was that she basically does not consider anyone in her life to be a true friend and that she's perfectly fine not having friends because she prefers to be alone. I work from home, so I'm in her company 24/7, and it's gotten to the point where I can literally feel my blood pressure skyrocketing when I hear her voice. I love her, but we're such drastically different people, with different opinions and values and personalities, that we clash all the time. She also refuses to treat me like an adult. I constantly have to ask her permission for everything. I've been trying to gently suggest that I live alone. I suggested she go back home, she's an immigrant from a Middle Eastern country, to live with her father and sisters as it happens. Her father is very ill and needs round-the-clock care. I also suggested she stay in the US and live with a roommate, and of course my brother and I would shoulder her expenses. When I made these suggestions, she went ballistic, saying that I'm ungrateful, that she spent so much money on my brother and I to raise us a single mom, and that I hate her and don't want her in my life anymore. She then very angrily said if she moved, she would then want nothing to do with my brother and I am not to ask her for help or support. I am trying very hard to see things from her perspective, that she doesn't want to be alone, she feels hurt, etc., but she just makes it so difficult to be in her company, and she refuses to admit that she could be doing anything wrong, or that she should change anything about her attitude, or even just be a little bit nicer. And if she were to move back home, she would be with her whole family, so she wouldn't be alone, but when I said this she said she can't stand her family and doesn't want to live with them for longer than a few months. The absolute irony. She's making me feel like a brat who is tossing her parent out onto the street, but I just want to experience living alone for a bit. Am I the asshole? Edit. For clarification, I am not asking her to move out of her own house. We are renting an apartment that my brother and I pay for. She has no income of her own, but she does have a house back in the old country. The issue is not me moving out. The issue is us living separately. If I were to live alone, we would all need to leave our current apartment and move elsewhere. Not the asshole, but you and your brother should move out and start living your own lives. It sounds like your mother has options. Not the asshole. It is normal at your age to be on your own or with your so. Move out. Live your life and your mother will sort herself out. If you don't, your mental health will suffer. Not the asshole. Sounds very similar to my in-laws in terms of old country mentality and raising their children in America. You grew up with new cultural norms than your mother did, and she's trying to keep you in line with tradition. Unfortunately, this is going to be a toxic, unhealthy situation that I hope you can maneuver around. What's your mother's stance on your brother moving in with his girlfriend before marriage? I'm sure not all that great. Do you guys have any family around? And I mean real cousins, not family friends. Not the asshole. Your mom needs to volunteer with an organization, maybe online answering phone or email for the time being. Or get a part-time job. She has too much time on her hands. Look somewhere to move for you both and tell her. Don't jade. Not the asshole. Just give her notice and move on with your life. Has she always been like this? Could this be mental health, depression, bipolar, or menopause? She might need help, but I doubt she would admit her behaviors. If she's willing to reason, rent her a 1BR in the same apartment to minimize the change. Not the asshole. Kids and parents weren't meant to live together for your whole life, we're meant to get away from our parents eventually. 19 years was enough for me, and 30 years is enough for you. Ultimately this is your choice, it affects her, but you and your brother pay for the apartment and all expenses, making this you and your brother's decision. Not the asshole. Go off and live your life. I would call her bluff on her cutting off contact with you both for moving on with your lives. I highly doubt she will do that, and if she does, that's her loss and she is cutting off her nose to spite her face. I definitely think your relationship will, eventually, after the transition period, grow, improve, and mature once you have some space from each other. She won't like it at first though. Not the asshole. You have a right to live your life the way you want to. She just wants you to take care of her for more years on end. It's very selfish of her. So, I say, find another place, tell her you are looking to move alone and do it. She's a grown adult and she can work. She could go work in a store as a cashier or some other job. She could maybe find a work-from-home job. Be free and live a happy life. Am I the asshole for rejecting a gift I considered insulting? I, 24 male, have recently celebrated my birthday with a few of my friends, including the girlfriend of a good mate. I will call her Jessica, a fake name. To be clear, from past interactions with her I already have an unfavorable opinion of her, so am probably biased. Jessica is an artist, making money with a variety of handmade things. For my birthday she gave me a small book, something she had written and illustrated herself. I briefly skimmed through it right after opening the present and turns out it was a story about my childhood. To explain. I had a pretty shitty childhood, mother gone, father alcoholic and abusive. I was raised mostly by my grandma, not exactly a wonderful person but miles better than my dad. I still have quite a few scars, both physically and mentally. It is definitely a sore thing and something I only talk about with my closest friends. The book depicted an almost Disney-like story. Mother runs away but comes back out of love for her child. Dad drinks but realizes that he has a problem, becomes clean and a loving parent. My grandma was depicted as a godmother type that teach the boy about wishing upon a star and everything will be better. She turned my childhood into a fairy tale story, in which everything turns into a loving, happy family. I irritatedly asked Jessica what the deal with the book was, why she would write it like that. She answered, "So that you can replace your childhood with a better one. Just look at the book and you can reminiscent about a happier past." That honestly pissed me off. A book does not erase my past, it does not make up for what happened or get rid of my scars and issues. It does not bring back a family. It is insulting to think some make-believe can just overwrite what I experienced. I told her that and gave the book back. The rest of the evening was cut short, as the mood had turned sour. I was later contacted by Jessica's boyfriend, that she was upset that I rejected her gift and that she meant well. The two other friends that were present, however, agree with me. Especially Mike, who also had an unpleasant conflict with Jessica, in which she meant well. Edit. First, someone in private why I'm not angry at my friend. I don't actually mind that he told her about my past. I don't like to talk about it, because it will never be a happy story to tell, but it is not something that I want to remain secret. Also, even if I don't like Jessica, she is the best girlfriend my friend ever had. He has never been this happy in a relationship before. Also one reason why we as a group do put up with Jessica. And #X200B. I have already received a lot of judgments and would like to thank everyone for that. So far the majority seems to go to not the asshole, but I want to say I can see the reason behind other judgments. If I accept that Jessica has not given this book to hurt me, which I do not, I also have to accept that she did put effort and, at least from her point of view, thought into it. That does not mean I'm happy about it, I will not pretend otherwise. It was upsetting, absolutely. However, I do believe I could have handled it better. I will have a talk with Jessica and also with my friend, explaining why I felt it was an inappropriate gift. Based on that discussion, I will have to consider how much I'm willing to be around Jessica. Not the asshole. Jessica is, though, for bringing up your childhood at your birthday party. It was a very inconsiderate thing to do from her, especially since you and her don't seem to be close at all. Not the asshole. This is an incredibly insensitive and awful gift. I'm sorry you had to go through that. It doesn't matter that she meant well. She could cause someone severe mental distress pulling something like that. Not the asshole. And #X200B. Jessica is the asshole here and her BF. But tell her boyfriend he should not worry because you will send her a text message that rewrites the events of the evening so she can reminiscent about a happier evening than it actually was. Not the asshole. Jessica's gift was wildly inappropriate. Not the asshole. Totally get it. A book written by someone who obviously has no idea what it's like to have that type of childhood. Sorry, reading won't change your past or make it better. This girl I think lives in fairyland, or she's just totally oblivious to other people's feelings and pain. I would have done exactly what you did if someone said it would make childhood better, because it wouldn't. I'm 61 and still affected by what my sperm donor did to me. Not the asshole. She has no right to rewrite your life. I cannot fathom how she thought bringing up your abusive childhood on your birthday was a good idea. And then she just piled on the bad judgment from there. She is very lacking in sensitivity and socio-emotional awareness. Not the asshole. Although your friend, the BF, sounds pretty tone deaf as well. Woman facepalming. Did you tell her about your childhood? Or was it your friend who did so? Either way, not the asshole. Her gift was pretty inappropriate.